Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This time is a deck update on the third deck that I ever made a guide for, Punk Gold Pride. So this is an update long in the making because there's been actually a lot of changes to this deck and I've just become a better deck builder since, 6 months ago or so. So I have built this much better version of it. So let's go over the changes. So the biggest one, and the reason that we're at 60 cards instead of 44, and the reason basically for this guide, is Mind Procedure. If you don't know Mind Procedure, it's a fairly new card. It came out in that wave of Psychic support recently, and it says if you normal or special summon it, you can pay 2,000 life and search a teleport card. That means we can search E-Telly, which makes this another starter for the deck. One of the issues with Punk Gold Pride in general is that both of these engines want to have above 40 cards. Punk has bricks. You don't want to draw a bunch of their cards, so you don't mind being above 40. And then Gold Pride has this weird issue where you need to play 3 Leon to do their full combo, but you don't actually want to draw one if you can help it. It's not like a Garnet, but you don't want to. So it's cool like that we can play this at 60. We want to play this deck at 60. The issue previously is that we only had 12 full combo starters. We had the whole 12 Punk starters, which is 3 Zeoman, 3 Ogre Dance, 3 Foxy, 3 E-Telly. Now we have 15, which means that I feel a lot more comfortable playing the deck at 60. And that means that we get to play a much more robust Gold Pride engine than I did in the previous video. The previous video, I played just kind of like a tiny package that could get us to some extra synchro materials. Here we're playing much more of a Gold Pride deck. We are playing the 3 Leons, as I said earlier. We can do that now a little bit more comfortably. We were playing 3 carries before. We're still doing that. We're playing the 3 start your engines in this one. I didn't have a copy in the original, but this is just like a killer card in this deck. So this card says, if your opponent normal or special summons 1 or more monsters, you target one, reveal 3 gold prides from your deck, your opponent randomly picks one for you to special summon, then shuffle the rest in and pop the card you targeted. So this is the reason we want 3 Leons and we don't want to see one of them if we can help it, because we want to reveal 3 Leons, summon it on the opponent's turn, then use his effect to quick synchro on the opponent's turn. And the best part about Start Your Engines is 1, it's searchable off of carry here, but 2, it's also not once per turn, so we get to play the full 3, and any extras we draw is just extra disruptions, extra bodies. It's really cool. I love this card. We just couldn't really make the deck work at 60. I didn't love it before, but we can now. And the cool thing is it's not at 60 because we have like a huge engine. I'm running a lot of engine. I'm running a lot of extra stuff just because we're at 60, but we still have 20 hand traps and 20 board breakers and all that good stuff. We're not like a 60 card branded deck where we have very little interaction or something like that. We still have quite a bit, which is great because one of the big benefits of this deck is that it draws an absurd number of cards. Our standard combo is 3 to 4 card draws over the course of a turn, which is crazy. So we play a ton of hand traps, even though I don't think this is necessarily a hand trap meta. They're a lot better in our deck specifically because we filter out a lot of the cards in our deck and then we draw a ton of them as we go, which is pretty cool. The other big reason that I wanted to do this update is that we got the Punk support, and the Punk support is so stellar in this deck. So Rising Scale, if you're not aware, is a wicked extender able to banish a Punk card from hand or grave to special summon itself, pay 600, and then special summon or add to hand another Punk from deck or grave. So you can, as long as you use one of our quote-unquote consumable Punk cards, so Ogre Dance or Foxy Tune, you can then banish it from grave for free to summon Rising Scale, to summon whatever else you need at any given moment. We're playing Madam Spider in this version because we're at 60. I feel more comfortable doing that because Madam Spider and Nashiwari can be kind of bricks, but we don't see them terribly often at 60, which is great. Speaking of which, I'm playing Nashiwari Surprise here instead of Dangerous Gabu. Dangerous Gabu historically has seen more play as the Punk trap of choice. It's basically imperm without the spell negate bit on it. It's just target, negate a monster effect. I think Nashiwari is better because it is a targeted pop, and it can hit dangerous back row and field spells and things right now. I'm thinking specifically of Yummy, so Yummy's field spell is really nasty, Nashiwari can help with that. Getting Snatchy off the board sometimes can ruin their day, because if they don't have a Link 1, they can't extend very well, whereas if you negate their Link 1 and they have other things in hand, they can still just extend like crazy and go off. So I feel like popping is maybe a little bit better than the monster negate right now. The other nice thing about the Punk engine is Jam Fever. We have a negate in engine now that we can just access before we do most of our combos. So you can get to Jam Fever. It's rare that you can get to it as your 5th summon, but it is possible. Most of the time it comes out on summon number 6, but that at least forces out a Nibiru before you get to that point, which is really nice. So we can do Jam Fever, and then we can still like put 2/3s together, even if they have to Nibiru there or use whatever disruption they have before we get to the Jam Fever. It's normally quite simple to put together 2/3s, especially if we manage to search Rising Scale off of Zeaman, to put together into Chariot Carry, and that gives us the full Gold Pride engine access, which is a nice thing that we didn't have access to in the first build of the deck, because we were playing such an abbreviated Gold Pride engine that we couldn't do them as like a backup plan. We had to just kind of hope the whole thing worked. Here, even if all we get to is Gold Pride, that ends up being a good 3 to 4 disruptions, which is, you know, pretty good through us getting Nibiru'd or something. And if we don't, then thanks to Rising Scale, we have a very, very easy time making Hope Harbinger now, so that gives us a monster negate, that gives us a spell negate, and then we have the whole Gold Pride engine on top of drawing 3 to 4 cards, so we have a bunch of hand traps and everything. It's a super cool, super fun deck, and I can't wait to show you guys the combos. So let's go ahead and get right into those. Alright, so for our first combo, this is any of the level 8 Punk starters, so either Ogre Dance or Foxy Tune. Otherwise the combo looks the exact same. Just know that if you start Foxy Tune, you keep your normal summon, but you have to have a discard, but that's it, basically. So for this one, we're going to discard Ogre Dance, and then we can grab Zeaman. Normal summon Zeaman, pay 600 to go find Rising Scale. Rising Scale banishes whichever level 8 you use to start. Summon itself, summon Shirakusai. Shirakusai can fuse with the Zeaman on field into Rising Carp. Rising Carp can go into Wagon and Deer Note. Wagon can find us the field spell so we can start drawing cards. We activate that, then go into Punk Jam, Dragon Drive. We bring back any of our 3s. We search Madam Spider. We use our 8s to go into Jam Fever, which protects the rest of our combo. Then we can use the field spell to summon Madam Spider and use her to go get Nashiwari Surprise and draw a couple of cards along the way. Then our 2/3s go into Chariot Carry, which finds Better Luck Next Time. Better Luck Next Time finds us Regular Carry. We can special summon Regular Carry because our life points are low, and that puts us on Start Your Engines. We have, at this point, on the end phase, the Chariot Carry returns to extra deck, summons Regular Carry. That triggers Better Luck Next Time to draw an extra card. So if you're counting, we have drawn 4 cards off of our 1-card combo. And this end board looks pretty weird, but I'm going to go ahead and keep rolling and show you what it does. So on the opponent's turn, as soon as they summon anything, we can activate Start Your Engines to summon Leon from deck. Leon brings back Rollerballer, and then Leon can quick sync into Star Leon. So Star Leon's an extra pop, and then Rollerballer can fuse with all of our Gold Pride cards, so 3 at the moment, to go into the extra deck Rollerballer, the Pinballer. And then Pinballer can equip opponent's monsters up to the number of materials used. So at this point, that is equipping 3 cards on the opponent's field to it, and that's non-negatable. So it's basically just a board wipe that we can't have negated, which is kind of disgusting. And then, you know, we still have all this extra back row. We drew into the impermanent droplet, so you're not always going to have those, but you have at least Nashiwari Surprise. So that's total 3 pops, 3 equips, and a negate off of the 1-card combo with 4 total extra cards in hand, which is so cool. And then the only other combo I'm going to show is the Mind Procedure combo, since this is a new card and the combo does look a little bit janky, but it ends up being one of our better starters, if you can believe it. So we're going to normal summon Mind Procedure, pay 2,000 to go search E-Telly. We can use E-Telly to summon Zeoman, and then we can activate Zeoman to find Rising Scale. But wait, we don't have anything to banish. That's why we're going to go into Carry first with our 2/3s, go into Better Luck next time, detach Zeoman specifically, which allows us to summon the Rising Scale, summon Shirakusai, use both as material to go into Rising Carp to get Wago and Deer Note, find the field spell, activate the field spell, go into Punk Jam Dragon Drive, draw a card, bring back a card, you know, all of this stuff. It's just kind of neat that we can go into Carry first and then use Carry to detach the Zeoman to give us fuel for Rising Scale. So we still draw a million cards. We grab Carry either way just so that we can get the trap. So we've got pretty much the same setup. We actually end up with like one extra material, but we have tuners here, which is interesting because it means that instead of just sitting on the extra Carry for a Rollerballer fusion, we can actually use our extra tuners to go into Shen. Note that this line might make this line look a lot better, but we don't get the extra draw off of Jam Fever. So we're down one card, down one fusion material, but up a Shen, which I do think makes this combo better, but you know, it's a little bit different. Cool. Okay, first game, we are up against the new Enneacraft stuff, and spoiler alert, this one's barely a game, but I wanted to show it to you anyways because it's just an example of how absolutely insane this deck can be. To be completely honest, this is a bad matchup for us because a lot of our stuff requires things to be face up to actually interact with. We already have a starter, so we make Gossip Shadow early, which we use on the Ash Blossom. I kind of stopped and debated there for a second because we could still normal summon Carry, search the start your engines, and like go from there. But I wanted to do some comboing, so we negate that, hope they just don't have a Nibiru. They end up not, so we can do like a full crazy combo. I do some interesting lines in this one, just like knowing your deck is so important here, and just in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, in any card game for that matter. And I have put so much time into Punk that I can do some weird lines, like special summon the Ogre Dance because we still have our normal summon, so we can just normal summon the Madam Spider, which gives us 2 materials to go into Hope Harbinger here, which is just an extra disruption that we wouldn't have had if I just did the normal line of, okay, this is where I go for Madam Spider, blah, blah, blah. Cool thing about Gossip Shadow is once he's used up, you can just attach him to Hope Harbinger to get him off your field and make him not a target, which is cool. We already have the Carry, but we still search Better Luck next time because it's a card draw and it gives us extra material. So this is our end board. We've got the one Start Your Engines, we've got the Nashiwari Surprise, we have an extra Called By we didn't end up having to use on our turn, which we drew off of the Gossip Shadow, so we wouldn't have had to use the Gossip Shadow if it had been one card earlier, but oh well. And then we've got like the fusion and everything. I'm actually going to not forget to do Nitro Head's thing. I just kind of am clicking through to get to main phase, so I accidentally skip Nitro Head's token, so they should have one. It doesn't end up mattering. So like I said, this is actually a pretty bad matchup for us. This one can bounce 3 cards on the field. We can't let that happen, so we're going to have to Jam Fever it. We Ash the Book of Eclipse, because you can do that for some reason, because we can't let that happen. Thankfully, that's all the board breakers they have. They summon a Pot of the Forbidden, and I'm terrified of that, so I Nashiwari Surprise it, but I guess that was all the extension they really had. Maybe they don't know the deck very well. Maybe they're still figuring out the optimal build. So we didn't even do the Gold Pride thing, but we still had like the Fusion and the Spell Negate and Called By's extra, all that good stuff. So just a good first game. I'm going to try and get you guys a better one for the second. Alright, and then game 2 we are up against Labyrinth. Once again going first, here we go. So, I start, despite the fact that my intention is to normal summon Mind Procedure either way, I start by discarding Ogre Dance. Note, if you're up against Punk, never Ash the Ogre Dance. It's almost always bait. They almost always have something else in hand. That said, it pulls out Arias the Labyrinth Butler, and we cannot let that resolve. That's much worse than an Ash, so we called by that. But now we have information. We know that the opponent is playing Labyrinth, and I know some tricks that are good against Labyrinth. Namely, Labyrinth really, really hates Shen because it stops their recursion engine. So we're going to go through our combo, and we actually end up with a bunch of extra materials here. So we have Hope Harbinger, and we have Jam Fever, we summon Carry. We drew the carry, which is great because that means we don't actually have to go into chariot carry. We just have to start your engines, which just does the whole thing on its own. So we make Shin, we make Start Leon. We know that some of our stuff's pretty useless, like Titanic Galaxy's probably not doing a whole lot, but we're hoping it's good enough. So they normal summon Ariana. We pop that to get Leon on board. We hit the Leon, we've got him on board. They set 3 and pass. We have Nashuari Surprise, which is really good against back row decks. It's like one of the only things we have that's really, really good against back row decks. So we pop something on end phase. That's their trap trick gone, especially because it's banished forever because Shen is on board. But they have 2 cards. And if you've ever played against Lab, you know one of those cards is Daruma Karma Cannon. They've never once in their life played a game without having Karma Cannon on board. So we use both of our back row to stop Lady, knowing that we aren't going to be able to do much. We summon carry, we grab another Start Your Engines. We can't actually even use the Start Your Engines because we have to be able to summon something. I thought about tributing over like Leon Star Leon with Nibiru just to give us a space so that maybe we could fuse, but I didn't think it mattered too much because Lab is a back row deck either way, and they probably aren't destroying our board in one turn. They have a couple of furnitures, so they set Welcome Lab. It goes back to our turn, and I start by flipping up Shin, so if they want to go into Welcome Lab, they're losing it permanently, but we do have Ash Blossom anyways, so they end up scooping. So we survived the Karma Cannon challenge, which is always terrifying. Thankfully, we just managed to run them out of enough resources before we got Karma Cannoned that they just didn't have follow-up. Not enough follow-up to matter. Thank you, Robust Hand Trap Suite, for giving us Ash. So let's head back for the wrap-up real quick. Yeah, so just quick wrap-up. God, this deck is fun, man. I love this one. It's a shame it's not... So Gold Pride is weird. It was meta for about 2 months. Like, it was considered good enough to be played, and this deck, not this exact deck, obviously we have newer cards, but P.U.N.K Gold Pride topped a couple of events. Never a Worlds or anything like that, but it was a pretty good deck. And then the second wave of support came out and it became a joke because the second wave of Gold Pride support was trash, which is unfortunate. But thankfully, because we have gotten like Mind Procedure, and P.U.N.K is not just my favorite deck, it is a lot of people's favorite deck and pet deck, so they got support. Hopefully more in the future. It means that this deck is still playable to this day and can still compete. It's probably not the best thing in the world in a world of people doing turn 0 windows, but it's not bad. It's puts up a bit of a board. It's very layered disruption, which is one thing that I absolutely love about this. We're searching multiple traps for our back row, so the opponent has to out those. They have to find a duster or something. But we also have a monster negate. We have a spell negate most of the time, which is another thing that they have to out. And even then, because we draw so many cards, we're going to end up with a bunch of hand traps. That's one of the reasons that I play just like 2 Ghost Bell and 2 Veiler, even though they're not the absolute best hand traps in the world. We want to see a variety of hand traps, so we've got, you know, just a bunch of them. The Ghost Ogre, I wouldn't hate playing 2, but it's searchable sometimes, so 1 is fine most of the time. You know, it's... what can I say? It's an incredibly fun deck with a large variety of play patterns, and you draw a million cards, and... you didn't get to see it in the game or anything, but this is the deck that probably makes the best use out of Psychic and Punisher of any of them, because you could see that my life was routinely getting to like 2400 or less. I think I've gotten my life down to like 700 on my first turn in this deck, which is absolutely insane, but if the opponent doesn't have burn, you don't out a Psychic and Punisher there, unless they have Karma Cannon, which is only if you're playing Labyrinth, because Labyrinth always has Karma Cannon. But anyways, that's going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the update, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.